What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is time for the hashtag lunchtime live draft. I am your host, Seth Keller at FFD at Home Dad on the Twitters. And today we have a special shout out for veterans all around the nation. I am one and want to shout out everybody else that is one or has one in their family or in their life because that's what veterans deserve more than just a day, but a shout out to all of them. So thank you for your service to all the veterans out there. And with that, I'm ready. I'm ready for a little lunchtime live draft. It's been a little bit, but I'm excited. I'm got about 15 minutes here. I'm going to try and get in as many of these live drafts as I can. I'm getting fired up for this Thursday night game. I think it's going to be a great fantasy game. I don't know how much of a great NFL game it's going to be, but I think it is going to be a phenomenal um, fantasy game. So I'm trying to get into as many of either the Rumbles or some three-person drafts for this Thursday night. If you have not checked out Underdog Fantasy, you need to do that right now for a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, it's incredibly fun. Second, if you're tanking, like if your team is tanked already on you this season, guess what? You can still get a whole lot done with Underdog Fantasy. It keeps you in the game. It lets you relive the joy of drafting every single week because that's what you do. You are drafting against live people and others as you are creating your little squad each week or each game, however you want it. And the most important reason why you need to get in it right now is because we will match up to $100 of your first deposit when you use promo code FAX. That's promo code FAX, FAQS, just like our typical show, which just came out, recorded last on Tuesday night and came out on audio yesterday. All right, so I'm already in one of the drafts for a Thursday night Rumble. I'm going to go ahead and get that up on the screen as I go ahead and set my cue for my second round pick. I did get the turn. I'm not exactly thrilled about that at the moment because I feel like whenever I'm on the turn, I have to reach. And then when I look at who is doing great on the Thursday night Rumbles, it's always somebody who gets some kind of ridiculous steal like Naeem Hines in the fourth, which was what happened just this past week. I thought I had a really solid squad and they did pretty good, but they weren't able to compete with me taking Naeem Hines in the third and somebody getting so lucky to get Naeem Hines in the fourth. So kudos to that person because they won themselves a nice little bit of money with that little pairing. What I did is I went ahead and got myself, let's see if this is the right screen. Got myself, there we go, a little bit of Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman to start things off. Ooh, and it is getting slim pickings already out here. I wanted to be able to get at least like Gesicki or Waddle out there. I wanted Myles Gaskin in the front. I'm just gonna kind of load up on our whatchamacallit, on our Baltimore Ravens guys here, and actually Lev Bell went off the board right in front of me. That's who I was thinking about taking. I'm going to go ahead and add Mac Hollins into my queue as I kind of scroll through and look at just the abysmalness that is what's left on the board here. And he's kind of the last viable option, I feel like, with Mac Hollins. And man, I really did not trust Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is out there. I don't trust him. Right now, it's been, he's questionable at the moment. I think I'm going to go with Salvin Ahmed. He has been used at least somewhat frequently. He should give me some points on the board. The other option would be going like with a Duvernay or a Preston Williams. And yeah, I think I'm going to end up going with Salvin Ahmed here. And take that as my first kind of lineup here. Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Mac Hollins, and Salvin Ahmed. Not 100% thrilled with it. I would be a lot happier over here in this first column if I was able to have, Mike Gesicki, Marquise Brown, even in the second column here with Gaskins, Waddle, and Bell. I actually think that's probably going to be one of the better kind of setups there. But I am not not hating my lineup because I think Bateman is going to have himself a phenomenal day. I think Mark Andrews is going to have himself a phenomenal day. But that being said, not in love with it. It's not love at the moment. It's definitely, I think, a squad that can compete. But I don't know if it's a squad that's going to be able to really kind of take things and run with it. So let's go ahead and see what else we got in the lobby here. And I might fire away at one of the Sunday slates too. But I want to go ahead. I'm going to jump into another one of just a 3-person draft. See if we can get anything set up there. And I'm going to go ahead and I am not going to do any of the basketball ones just because I'm not that much of a basketball head. But you can do the same thing with NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB. If you're MLB, you're not going to do any of that because the World Series is already over. But it's on the Underdog platform, so go ahead and check that out. Like I said, I'm not as much into NBA or NHL, so I'm not going to do those ones. But I am going to go ahead and get myself into a couple more of these drafts here, see if I can get something else going. I do want to get at least one or two more of these in as we kind of look at, what's happening here. So if you are looking at the Sunday slate, there are definitely some games that you can take advantage of. You have the Steelers and the Lions. There's probably going to be some decent opportunity there to pick up, a running back, possibly a wide receiver in that game. You have the Cowboys and Falcons. That is the highest under/over that I've seen so far this week. That there's going to be points galore in that game. So I'm really excited about that Cowboys Falcons game. The Cowboys defense has had some bright spots. They have, and that's not just me kind of pointing to my Cowboy scarf in the background. That is, they have had some bright spots, but it hasn't been phenomenal. But I'm excited for what that could possibly be for them. And then there's also some decent games. The Eagles and Broncos could be some sneaky plays. Seattle and Green Bay could be some sneaky plays. And even the Colts and the Jaguars, that's a fun little game there. The Jags have been actually pretty decent against running backs, but that wouldn't stop me from firing up guys like Jonathan Taylor against them, or even Nyheim Hines against them. So yeah, there's a lot of really fun kind of matchups there. You have Tennessee going up against the Saints. The Saints have been giving up points to the quarterback and wide receiver, and that's pretty much all the Titans have left anymore. So there's some really good, interesting matchups there. And it looks like we just got into another of the Thursday night games. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself ready for that. See if I can get that up on the screen for you all. And Marquise Brown is already off the board. I'm going to go ahead and go with my guy, Myles Gaskin here. I think he is going to have himself a really good day. Baltimore is not great against the run. They are giving up, I think it was the 8th. Yeah, they're giving up the 8th most points to opposing running backs. So I am excited for Myles Gaskin. I think he's going to have himself a good game. It's also kind of why I'm not scared about starting Salvon Ahmed that much. But I like Gaskins just in general. I think if he gets a little bit more play, he can kind of keep doing some good for himself. So let me go ahead and get that up on the screen while we hit into the turn here. And it looks like, yep, it started off exactly the same. Marquise Brown, Myles Gaskin, Mark Andrews, Jalen Waddle, which gives me the chance here. I am going to try to go ahead and pick up Devonta Freeman here. I'm going to see if I can get Gesicki or Bateman to fall back to me here. I don't feel 100% confident about that, but I feel like one of these type of risks is what's going to pay off in the end, right? If I can get the two top running backs and possibly get one of these pass catchers. And Gesicki just went off the board. Come on, leave me Bateman, please, please leave me Bateman. Let me get some Bateman. Hoping for some Bateman. I don't know if it's going to happen though. Like I said, I'm not very confident that that's going to happen, but I would love if Bateman was able to fall back to me here. And he does, because the guy in the lead position went with Lev Bell. So that lets me go ahead and take Bateman. And now I feel so much better about this draft, because I think Bateman is going to have himself a phenomenal day. So yeah, I am excited now to see who I get with the last kind of pick here. Let's see. Yep, they're good. Now we get Bateman, and let's see. We got two more picks to go here, and know that these can go a little bit quicker. I am letting my time kind of run all the way down, just so I can talk my way through them. Preston Williams. I love me some Preston Williams, but man, has he been hurt? Always hurt. Sammy Watkins just went off the board, which means now I can go with Mac Hollins or Salvon Ahmed. Like I said, Salvon Ahmed has himself a pretty decent matchup there. Just because if Gaskin doesn't go off, the Ravens are giving up a decent amount of points. Mac Hollins is kind of one of the few options that they have left at wide receiver. But I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Salvon Ahmed here. I think he's going to be my guy. Probably may have felt a little bit better going with Mac Hollins to try and get a little bit more out of just the players on the board. But I don't mind having what I kind of have at the moment. And it looks like we already have the next draft already going. And I was able to, luckily at the turn, let me go ahead and get this one up too. Because like I said, I'm trying to get a bunch of them in. So let me go ahead and get that draft up now. This is just a 3-person one. So not as much of a tournament one. I don't have to take as many swings. And that's why I kind of am regretting the Salvon Ahmed over Mac Hollins. I feel like Mac Hollins is a little bit more of a swing that you kind of need when you're doing a tournament like the Thursday night tournaments. You need to have some guys that are going to put up some bigger days, bigger outputs. And let me go ahead. I'm going to get that one up. This is now, it's a 3-person one, which is, well, not ready for it. Go full screen now. There we go. It's a 3-person one, which gives me, it's a little bit easier to go with a safer approach, right? I'm at the turn again. I'm really happy that somebody went Waddle really early, because that gave me Gaskin and Mark Andrews. I feel really confident about those two. I think they're going to be two of the kind of top guys in this game. I really believe that. You know what? I've said his name enough times and haven't put him into a lineup here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Mac Hollins. Let's go ahead and fire him up because, yeah, I kind of like that approach. Like I said, I've said his name too many times to not put him into a lineup. And now the option here is Salvon Ahmed or Preston Williams. And it looks like Preston Williams will play. But I already have Mac Hollins. So I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit different here. Do I go with Duvernay? I'm going to go ahead and go with Duvernay, I think, if I can get my computer to work right now. And I was too slow. I got Ahmed instead. Dope. I wanted to go with Duvernay. Hasn't been wholly involved, but I wanted to go with Duvernay. Oh, no. Did I get him in? Oh, maybe I did. I did. Oh, no, I got Ahmed. Duvernay came with the next pick. Here I was getting excited, thinking that I lucked out. I think Duvernay, he hasn't been getting a ton of volume, but he's one of those type of guys that, you know, if you can get a a couple of things going. Like he got a last minute touchdown. What was that last week? It kind of saves his day. He gets 2, 3, that's pretty much what you're looking at in terms of his receptions. But if he can turn them into a touchdown like he was able to do, if he can turn them into a decent chunk of yards, that's going to make the day for him in a tournament, not in a tournament, but in a matchup like this, because it's such a small field of players. An 8-point game is not a bad game, considering that we drafted three different teams of 4 people. That's 12 people. You're typically not getting that much production out of 12 people in a single game. You're probably getting production out of your top like 3, 4, 5, depending on the game. And remember, there's no quarterbacks in these 3-person drafts in Underdog. It is all just your skilled positions. So you remove the quarterbacks from it, it reduces kind of that pool of players a little bit more. And you kind of get, you get a couple of different options there. And it's a good time, good there for a good time, not a long time. And let's see. Let's see if I can just get in one real quick $5 2-person Sunday game. See if that can pop off in the next couple minutes, just as I kind of go through the next ones here. I'll go 20 minutes instead of 15 today because I haven't been able to do nearly as much of this, and it's Veterans Day, so I'm off. I'm not actually on my lunch break. I know it's a bit of false advertising, but it is what it is. Hopefully you don't hold it against me. All right. So coming up this week, I think I touched on a couple of the big games. Definitely the Cowboys and Falcons game, a game that I'm really going to be looking at trying to target in terms of players that I'm picking up here. I'm also going to be trying to target the Bills against the Jets. The Jets have, just they've allowed points all over the field. Not so much to wide receivers because you don't need to throw the ball to beat the Jets. They just haven't been that great of a team, right? I did get a little excited for Mike White, but there's not a ton to get excited there. There is a little bit to get excited about with Cleveland playing a little bit better and going to New England. That New England may have some opportunities there. Cleveland may have some opportunities there, but that's probably not a game that I'm going to be focusing on like a 2-person draft like this. That's in one. If I'm in a slightly larger draft, like a 6-person, I might try and take advantage of some of those. As I mentioned, the Saints and the Titans, I think you can take advantage of the fact that AJ Brown and Tannehill could be able to capitalize against the Saints defense that's been allowing some points to quarterbacks and wide receivers. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Again, I am starting the Colts. I do not see Jacksonville repeating what they did against the Bills. I just don't. Hold it against me if you want to. I don't see that happening. I see that as being the Bills kind of taking an extra bye week and kind of, getting taken advantage of. I mean, a 9-6 game is anomalous just in the fact that it's a 9-6 game. That's an absolutely horrible, abysmal game. And a game that, I haven't seen a 9-6 game that I can remember since I went to the Bills. And I think it was Bills Cleveland back in was it 05 or 06 or something like that. And it was a 9-6 game. Me and one of my buddies were freezing out in the stands, but they were free tickets, and damn it, we enjoyed it. Shout out to Jemin, you're my boy, even though we haven't been able to be in contact in quite a while. But that was a hell of a game to go watch. But it sucked in the sense that it was only a 9-6 game. Not a whole lot of fantasy happening right there. All right, let's see who else we got on the slate. Arizona is a real tricky option here. And then the Panthers, I really don't like much of anything here except for maybe Christian McCaffrey, because he's Christian McCaffrey. The Cardinals have been one of the stoutest defenses out there. The Panthers have been one of the stoutest defenses out there. And Arizona may be playing without Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds. I mean, James Conner, have yourself a day, young man. Went in for 3 scores last week. That was phenomenal, but probably not something that you're going to be counting on too much moving forward. I do think he's going to have himself a nice string of games against this Carolina Panthers defense, which it is pretty stingy. You're probably not going to get a whole lot out of them. And then one of the last games I'll just touch on is the Chargers and the Vikings. This could be another game right here. Austin Eckler could have himself a day. Delvin Cook and some legal issues, maybe, possibly. There's a whole lot of news coming out. Not going to make any kind of determinations about that right now because there just seems to be every different side of this story coming out right now. And I don't think anybody except for probably Delvin Cook and the woman that he was in his altercation with, and it sounds like 2 other people that were there know what actually happened there because it is just a very, very crazy kind of setup. And yeah, with that said, we just got our setup going. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that screen on real quick because we got a 2-person draft that is about to go down. Let me go ahead and fire that up. So with a 2-person draft, you're not looking for the splash plays as much. You're going to be starting 6 players, a quarterback, a tight end, a running back, 2 wide receivers, and then a flex play. And I am going to, let's see here. There are definitely quarterbacks that are worth waiting on. There are definitely running backs that I am going to try and take advantage of right now. I'm going to go ahead. I think Najee Harris, he is the top projected running back. I'm going to go ahead and scoop him up here because I think he's going to have himself a day. I'm going to let, I'm going to let the person I'm going up against here, they have their opportunity right now. They can go with wide receiver. They could knock that out of the way. They could go after running back, which they did, and they got my boy Jonathan Taylor, and then went with Stephon Diggs. I think that's a pretty good setup there. I really like both of those guys. On my turn here, man, I'm gonna take Austin Eckler over Christian McCaffrey. I think he's a little bit scary to me, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and reach down a little bit, just a little bit, not too far, just a little bit, and go ahead and get AJ Brown with my next pick as well. Take Austin Eckler, AJ Brown. I think that gives me, I think Najee Harris is going to be all the way at the top. I think Austin Eckler has a chance to be all the way at the top in his matchup. And I think AJ Brown has a chance to be one of the top wide receivers in his matchup. And then right off the board came Devontae Adams. That was kind of leaving a gift out there for him. But I think there's still some opportunity here, and I really like what I am looking at moving forward, and that's great. I'm going to go ahead and get my second wide receiver. I'm a little nervous with the matchup here, but I still kind of don't mind it. But I am looking at Tom Brady and the Washington football team. The Washington football team has been terrible. And Mike Evans, it makes me a little nervous. The Mike Evans, Antonio Brown is back. Chris Godwin is questionable at the moment. It's hard to tell which wide receiver is going to have themselves a day, but somebody out of that group is going to have themselves a day. I'm going to go ahead and scoop up Mike Evans and then scoop up Tom Brady right after that, which means that both me and my competitor here are going to be going going and getting our tight ends with the last kind of set of picks here. And there's a lot to choose from. There's Pitts, Hockenson, Schultz, Freiermuth has been having himself a day. That's a nice little stack there and some DFS plays kind of going with that tight end and running back stack, or that tight end and defense stack. I think that could be a nice little play. And yeah, I mean, it's either going to be Hawkinson, Schultz, Fryermuth. I think it's going to be Fryermuth for me here, because I think that Pittsburgh is going to, it's either Fryermuth or Dalton Schultz, man, oh man, because I think the Cowboys are going to come back and be a force against this Atlanta team. But again, Schultz has way too many mouths to feed there. Fryermuth doesn't have nearly as many. And if Chase Claypool is still questionable and can't go, to me, that makes Fryermuth my option here. I don't like Ertz and Goddard against their defenses, so it is Fryermuth for me. And let's see how we did. We end up with Tom Brady slinging the rock, hopefully to Mike Evans. AJ Brown hopefully being able to torch the weak defense, weak secondary of New Orleans. Najee Harris and Austin Eckler hopefully destroying the weak rushing defenses of Detroit and Minnesota, and Pat Fryermuth hopefully being able to take advantage of that weak Detroit defense as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that went 25 minutes. Who knew? But there it is. Hashtag Lunchtime Live Draft. Check us out on our weekly show on the Fantasy Facts. You can get to us on Twitter at GX Fantasy Facts. That's FAQS. You can check us out on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, all of that stuff. You can find us either as the Fantasy Facts or part of the Gridiron Expert podcast collective or podcast network. You can find us on gridironexperts.com/podcast. And you can also find us on the YouTube at the Fantasy Facts. Go get yourself some Underdog today. Use the promo code FACTS. That's going to get you a match of up to $100. That's a hell of a deal. I wish I got that deal. 100 free bucks into your account when you deposit for the first time, up to $100. I mean, you could still do like $10, but I mean, why? Why only do 10 when you could do 100? Go have yourself some fun, ladies and gentlemen. And one more time, thank a service member, because we should all be thankful. If not on Veterans Day, when else? Should be every single day. But go thank a veteran today. Peace. Catch you on the flip side.